The decision to get a fence was born from the pitter-patter of tiny paws. My wife and I had just adopted a rescue beagle named Copper, a bundle of joyous, chaotic energy who loved to explore. Our backyard in the pleasant tree-lined community of Maplewood Heights was a good size, but it was wide open. For Copper's safety and our peace of mind, a fence wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. I knew, however, that in an HOA-governed neighborhood, you don't just build a fence, you embark on a bureaucratic quest. Before spending a dime, I immersed myself in our HOA's covenants. I found the section on fencing, maximum height of 6 feet, must be made of cedar or vinyl, pre-approved styles only. Simple enough. But my property shared its longest border with Sharon. Sharon had lived in her house for 30 years and viewed the established, unfenced expanse between our homes not as two separate yards, but as one continuous feudal estate over which she held seniority. Her lawn was her kingdom, and she guarded its perceived borders with a fierce, unwavering vigilance. I knew that the exact placement of the fence would be a point of contention. To preempt any conflict, I took 2 crucial steps. First, I submitted a formal application to the HOA's Architectural Review Committee with the exact style of cedar fence I wanted, one of the 3 pre-approved designs and a rough site plan. It was approved within 2 weeks. Second, and most importantly, I hired a licensed and bonded surveying company to professionally mark my exact property lines. I wasn't going to rely on assumptions or where a previous owner might have planted a rosebush. I wanted cold, hard, legally defensible facts. The surveyor came out on a Tuesday. He used his sophisticated equipment to find the original iron pins buried deep in the ground and planted bright orange wooden stakes connected by a taut string line. The result was interesting. The legal property line was a good 6 inches further into what Sharon had always treated as her yard than either of us would have guessed. An old, gnarled oak tree she was particularly proud of was, it turned out, almost entirely on my property. A sprinkler head she used to water her prize-winning petunias was now definitively on my side of the line. The moment she saw the stakes, her front door flew open. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded, marching across the lawn to where I stood admiring the surveyor's work. "Good morning, Sharon," I said politely. "I'm having a fence installed, so I had a professional survey done to make sure the placement is exact." She pointed a trembling finger at a stake near her petunia bed. "This is wrong. Your man made a mistake. My property line goes to that crack in the sidewalk. It always has." "Actually," I said, pulling the folded survey map from my back pocket, "this is the official plat map from the survey. It's based on the county records. The stakes are accurate." She waved her hand dismissively, unwilling to even look at the document. "I don't care what your map says. I know where my property is. You are not putting a fence through my flower bed." She stormed back to her house. I knew right then this was not going to be easy. The following Monday, the fence company arrived. The moment their truck pulled up, Sharon was on her porch, phone in hand, watching. The work crew, 2 professional and polite guys named Gus and Miguel, started digging the post holes precisely along the surveyor's string line. Sharon marched over. "I am telling you, you are on my property," she announced to the crew. "You are trespassing and I will have you arrested." Gus, the foreman, looked at me. I stepped forward. "Sharon, I've shown you the legal survey. They are working on my property with my permission." "We'll just see what the police have to say about that," she shrieked before retreating to her porch to, presumably, make good on her threat. An hour later, as the first posts were being set in concrete, she lost her mind. The crew was digging a hole right next to the sprinkler head she believed was hers. In her reality, they were destroying her property. I was inside grabbing a bottle of water when I heard her shouting, her voice cracking with fury. Then I heard the sound that every suburban homeowner dreads, the rapidly approaching wail of a police siren. I walked outside to see a police cruiser parked at the curb. Sharon was practically vibrating with righteous indignation, talking to a tall, stern-looking officer. "He's destroying my sprinkler system," she cried, pointing at the post hole. "I told them to stop, that they were on my land, and they threatened me. This is willful destruction of private property and trespassing." The officer, who looked like he had zero patience for neighborhood squabbles, walked over to me. His partner, a younger female officer, followed. The work crew had stopped, leaning on their shovels with looks of pure exasperation. "Sir, I'm Officer Miller," he said, his eyes scanning the scene. We have a 911 call reporting destruction of property and that your work crew is refusing to leave this woman's property. This was it. The argument. The moment of truth. Officer, I began, my voice deliberately calm and measured. I understand why you're here, and I'm happy to clear this up. I am the homeowner here. I am having a fence installed entirely on my own property. That's a lie, Sharon yelled from the sideline. His property ends at the sidewalk crack. There seems to be a disagreement about the property line, sir, Officer Miller said, stating the obvious. Yes, there is, I replied. My neighbor's opinion of where the line is and where the line legally is, I anticipated this exact conflict, which is why I took certain steps before beginning any work. I walked to my front porch and picked up a large cardboard tube and a folder. I walked back and handed the folder to the officer. First, this is the official approval for my fence design from our HOA's Architectural Review Committee. I have followed all community procedures. He glanced at it and nodded. Second, and more importantly, I said, uncapping the tube and pulling out the rolled-up survey map. I spread it across the hood of my car. This is a legally certified boundary survey completed last week by Apex Land Surveyors, a licensed state firm. As you can see, I pointed. It is stamped with the surveyor's official seal. The two officers leaned in to look at the map. I pointed to the bright orange stakes still hammered into the ground. Those stakes, officer, were placed by the surveyor. They represent the legal boundary between the two properties according to county records. Now, if you look here, I traced a string line with my finger. You can see the fence posts are being installed perfectly on my side of that legal line. I then pointed to the controversial sprinkler head next to the new post hole. According to this legal survey, my neighbor's sprinkler head is, unfortunately, located about 4 inches inside my property line. Officer Miller looked from the map to the stakes in the ground to the fence posts and then back to the map. He saw that they all aligned perfectly. He was looking at a case of documented, verifiable facts versus one woman's unsubstantiated belief. He turned to his partner. Radio dispatch and tell them this is a civil matter, no police action required. He then walked over to Sharon, who was watching with a look of dawning horror. Ma'am, Officer Miller said, his voice now devoid of any ambiguity. I've reviewed a certified land survey. This gentleman's fence is being installed on his property. That means your sprinkler head is on his property. There has been no destruction of your property, and his work crew is not trespassing. He wasn't finished. Furthermore, the 911 system is for emergencies active crimes, fires, medical crises. A dispute over a property line that you are on the losing side of is not an emergency. You have wasted city resources and pulled us away from potential real emergencies. Do not do it again. The color drained from Sharon's face. She had been publicly and authoritatively told she was wrong. She had called in the cavalry, and the cavalry had sided with me. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, unable to form a single word. She gave me one last withering look of pure hatred, spun around, and retreated into her house. Officer Miller gave me a nod. You're all clear, sir. Looks like you did everything the right way. He then told Gus and Miguel they could get back to work. The fence was finished by the end of the day. It stood straight and tall, a handsome cedar barrier exactly on the line that the law said was mine. The 6 inches of lawn and the lonely sprinkler head were now officially on my side. Sharon didn't speak to me for 6 months. The HOA sent me a brief email stating that, per the survey, the matter was closed. The fence became a silent, permanent reminder of the day her feelings ran up against my facts, and the facts won. Now, when Copper the Beagle is happily and safely running around the backyard, I sometimes look at that fence. It's more than just wood and nails. It's a testament to the idea that being prepared is the best defense, and that there's no argument more powerful than a calm, well-documented, and legally indisputable truth.